See, first of all, there are how many acts in the play? Do you know this?
No,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am. 5 acts.
Yes, there are 5 acts in the play. And the scenes may vary. Some acts are of 5 scenes, some have more than 5 scenes, and I think one act has less than 5 scenes. It has 3 scenes. So we begin with Act 1, Scene 1. This scene is where which takes us to King Lear's palace, right? And in the palace, Earl of Kent, Gloucester, and Edmund, these 3 people are entering. It is a kind of celebratory atmosphere. Okay, and they are in continuation of some discussion, because Kent, the first dialogue of the play is by Kent, who is very loyal uh, friend or servant, whatever you want to say. I won't call employee because they didn't get salary as such, but yes, he advises also. He's a person who can give advice to king, so he's more like a friend also, and a very loyal person. So he is his dialogue is the first dialogue of the play, and from this we can guess that something important is going to take place today in the palace. Kent says, I thought the king had more affected the Duke of Albany than Cornwall. That means he thinks that uh, the king likes Duke of Albany more than Duke of Cornwall. You know who is Duke of Albany and Duke of Cornwall?
Yes, ma'am.
I
His
told that.
Yes,
son-in-laws.
ma'am.
Both, yes, both are son-in-laws. And now see, basically, the royal hierarchy was king was there, then earls were there, dukes were there. These are all positions in the royal court. Now since these people have got the idea that kingdom is going to be divided, so they have to see which side they would want to be, because politics of the palace, politics of the country is now going to be decided. So they want to see which side they could incline more or less. So this is all palace politics that these people are discussing. Now Gloucester says this act is important, so we will go in detail. This scene 1 is important because this is the foundation of the play. So Gloucester says, it did always seem so to us, but now in the division of kingdom it appears not which of the dukes he values most, for equalities are so weighed that curiosity in neither can make choice or either's moiety. This means, see, he says that it seemed to us that someone is more preferable than the other, but now in seeing the equalities that the king has decided to give to his son-in-laws, it does not seem that uh, it is so well balanced that it cannot be said that anyone is more preferable, right? So from this it appears that Gloucester knows how much everyone is going to get. There has been so many researchers that some people say that it is at that moment, spur of moment, that King Lear had decided something. Some say no, it was previously decided. King had already made up his mind. So this is always debatable. So as much as you read these dialogues, different meanings will come out of it. Now there is a shift of the topic, and Kent says, is not this your son, my lord? Edmund is there with Gloucester. So Kent is asking that, is he your son? There may be some resemblance. So he is asking this. To which Gloucester's reply, see, will tell you about the society of those times. Gloucester says, his breeding, sir, hath means has. Okay. His breeding, sir, has been at my charge. I have so often blushed to acknowledge him, that now I am brazen to it. That means I have brought up this man. Okay, I have been in charge. That means he is accepting that Edmund is his own son. Right? But then he says, I was responsible for his, you know, has been at my charge, his breeding. That means I have given birth to this person, but I am blushed. I am very ashamed of it to acknowledge it. So much, so many times I have blushed that now I am brazen to it. Now Kent says, I cannot conceive you. Conceive means I cannot imagine that you are such kind of a person, that you had some affair with someone like that. So Gloucester then he again explains it. Sir, this young fellow's mother she could conceive. See how shamelessly these people used to brag about their relations out of wedlock. Right? So he says, sir, this young fellow's mother could, whereupon she grew round womb, means she became pregnant, right? And indeed, sir, a son for her cradle. She brought a cradle for her son before, means before she had a husband for her bed. She married someone later, but she bought cradle for the son before, and I have fathered this man, young man. Do you smell a fault? He is in such a mocking, ridiculing, bragging his masculinity, something like that. Now Kent says,
and ma'am, in a way also, ma'am, in a way, he's also not taking charge. He's saying, "Oh, she became pregnant and she had a boy before she had a husband." Instead of saying that, "Oh, I had an extramarital affair."
Right. He's not saying that I had
indirectly.
Yes, because he's a man and he can have these relations. Nothing wrong with that. Lekin being a woman, she was loose. Okay. So now, because in 20th century we are reading the play, so we are reading it through this perception. This is what I want to say. But during those times it was common, people could say these things loudly. Right? Today women speak for themselves, so they are speaking in this way. But you know, this literature or everything which could, you know, help in gaining knowledge, it was only in the hands of man. All the priests of the churches, and everything was in the hands of man. We have gone through Renaissance drama also. We have seen that Elizabethan age. Right? So this is what is seen here. Then Gloucester said, further, he does not stop at this. He says, but I have, sir, a son by order of law. I have a legitimate son. I have one more son who is born out of wedlock. Some years elder than this. He is elder. Okay, that means after marriage, I had this other illegitimate son, who yet is no dearer in my account. Though this knave came something saucily into the world, saucily means with spice, right? Into the world before he was sent for, yet was his mother fair. His mother was very beautiful. There was a good sport at his making. We enjoyed our relationship while conceiving this boy. Right? And the whoreson, now the woman is now called as whore, right? Must be acknowledged. I acknowledge him. I take care of him. Do you know this noble gentleman, Edmund? Now he is asking that boy before his friend Kent. Okay, am I right? You are so noble. I brought you up like a noble gentleman. I have taken care of you. I have given you respect. No, my lord, Edmund says. Then he says, my lord of Kent, remember him hereafter as my honorable friend. This boy who is a biological son of mine, you can remember him as an honorable person. Then Kent says, I must love you and show to you that, sir, I shall study deserving. I shall always be, whatever you say I would be doing, I would be at your service. Okay, this he says. Then Kent is saying that he will also honor. Now these people, their talk is now immediately is interrupted with what? He says the king is coming. Achha, before that, Gloucester also tells he hath been out 9 years and away he shall again. Again, he is going out somewhere. So now king is coming. Now king comes with
yes. Question.
Yes.
Ma'am, when Gloucester says he had been out 9 years and away he shall again, who is he talking about? His son or Kent?
No, he's talking about son.
The son. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Then, okay. Now King Lear is coming with Cornwall, Albany, and Gunrel, elder daughter, all the 3 daughters. And then, of course, there's the retinue of attendants. Now, King Lear says, attend the lords, he's announcing now, attend the lords of France and Burgundy, Gloucester. Gloucester has been given charge to take care of lords of France, who is now king, and Burgundy. I shall my king, Gloucester says. Now Gloucester and Edmund, they go together to take care of these 2 guests. Then King Lear says, meanwhile we shall express our darker purpose. Darker means more serious purpose, something that we have to pay attention to. Give me the map there. Know that we have divided in 3 our kingdoms. See here again, King Lear, this point I am making again and again, that I think that they have, King Lear has made up his mind and he has divided the kingdom into 3 parts, because he is saying that, know that we have divided in 3 our kingdom, 3 parts, and it is our fast intent. Fast intent means very sincerely I want to shape all cares and business, all worries and business related to our kingdom from our age. Our means mine. He's king, so he's talking as we, our, okay. So he says that at my age, I am more than 80 years of age, I want to shape all my cares and business, all my responsibilities, conferring them on younger strands. These young people are standing here. I want to distribute my kingdom among these people, while we unburdens crawl towards death. In this old age, gradually I am moving towards death. So I want to divide my kingdom. Our son of Cornwall and you, our no less loving son of Albany, we have this a constant will to publish. I have to publish this will. I have to I have to declare it. Okay, I am declaring now. Our daughter's several doors that future strife may be prevented now. Whatever dowry I want to give to my daughters, I just want to do it now, so that future strife, future struggle, future fight, future quarrel can be prevented. Then he says the princes, France and Burgundy, chief rivals in our youngest, they are competing in our youngest daughter's love, long in our court, have made their amorous sojourn. Amorous sojourn, they have made a proposal there that they are interested in marrying my daughter. And here are to be answered. Now they will get the decision will be taken. Tell me, my daughters. Now again he shifts his attention to his daughters. He says, tell me, my daughters, since now we will divest us both of rule, interest of territory, cares of state, which of you shall we say doth love us most? Who loves me the most? Now see, here he has declared that he has divided the kingdom at one place. Then he says that he does not want any future quarrel, right? So this old man is now dividing his kingdom into 3 parts, which he has said that he has divided, and now he is asking that how much do you love me? Now such kind of dialogue can be taken as seriously he is asking, or just because he's pampering his daughters, how much do you love me, right? But then the point to be noted is that he is asking this as a king, because he is sitting in a court, right? And formally he is asking before all the lords of the court, that we our largest bounty may extend where nature does with merit challenge. That we our largest bounty may extend. Before this, I can see this line is very important. Which of you shall we say does love us most? Who loves me most out of 3? Then he says, so that means so that we our, I, my largest bounty, largest part of the kingdom may extend, may give, where nature does with merit challenge. Merit says that all should be given equal, but you know, if you have more love, you will get more out of it. Our eldest born speak first. How he is addressing Goneril, this is also important. He says, our eldest one, eldest daughter. Okay. Now Goneril says, just first scene I will do line by line, and then we would skip few sentences. Sir, I love you more than words can wield the matter. Words are not sufficient enough to show the matter of love I have for you in my heart. Dearer than eyesight, you are more loved than my eyesight. I can give my eyesight, space, liberty, beyond what can be valued, rich or rare, everything, no less than life. I can give my life with grace, health, beauty, honor, everything, as much as child ever loved or father found. I love you to the extent of my life, more than my life, a love that makes breath poor. सांसें भी गरीब लगने लगे. I can give my breath also. Speech, beyond all manner of so much I love you. I love you so much. Cordelia, yes.
Ma'am, I have a question. Ma'am, as much as child ever loved, the father found. What does this mean?
As much as child ever loved, जितना भी कोई एक बच्चा प्यार कर सकता था या एक पिता को प्यार मिल सकता था, है ना, everything I can give to you.
Okay, ma'am.
Right.
Okay, ma'am.
Now Cordelia said, I told you that in Shakespearean plays we have a fool, we have soliloquy, we have asides. Asides means thoughts, how to tell what the character is thinking. For this, the character used to go to corner and could speak to herself or himself, and this showed that these were the thoughts of the character. So Cordelia goes to one side of the stage, and then she is speaking to herself. धीरे से बोलती है, that means she is thinking about it. What shall Cordelia do? Love and be silent. I cannot speak about love. I love, but I cannot speak. Lear. Of all these bounds, ever from this line to this, With shadowy forests and champions stretched with plenteous rivers and wide-skirted meads, we make the lady to thine and Albany's issue. This means from this part of the land to forests, rivers, everything. This part I give it to you. I make you the lady to thine and Albany, your husband. Be this perpetual. May your kingdom always exist, never be destroyed. Then he says, what says our second daughter, our dearest Regan, wife to Cornwall? Right? See how he's addressing second daughter. He says, second daughter, our dearest Regan, wife to Cornwall. These three words, these three phrases. Regan says, sir, I am maid of the self-same that my sister is, and prize me at her worth. Okay, same words I would like to repeat what Goneril has said. In my true heart, I find she names my very deed of love. She has said all these words were there in my mind. Only she comes too short that I profess myself an enemy to all other joys. I can leave all the joys. This is something extra that I'm telling you, that I can leave all the joys which the most precious square of sense possesses, and find I am alone felicitate in your dear highness love, and everything I just surrender before you. I love you. Now again Cordelia says aside, then poor Cordelia, and yet not so, since I am sure my love's more richer than my tongue. My tongue cannot express my love for my father. Okay, my love is so rich and tongue is so poor. I cannot find words to express in this way before the court, that I have to prove my love in order to get the part of the kingdom. I just can't find these words. King Lear, to thee and thine hereditary, thine hereditary means all the children who are born. To thee and thine hereditary ever remain this ample third of our fair kingdom, no less in space, validity, and pleasure than that conferred on Goneril, equal. Now our joy. See, this is very important. Now our joy, although the last not least, you were born last, you are the third one, but not least. Kam nahi ho kisi se. To whose young love the wines of France and the milk of Burgundy strive to be interest. Now, these two people, France and Burgundy, they are standing here before you to draw your attention. What can you say to draw? A third more opulent than your sisters. Speak. You are more opulent. You are third and you are more opulent. You are more, you are better. You are best one. Okay. So what do you want to say? Say something. So here the point to be noted is that to Goneril he said our eldest daughter. To Regan he said our second daughter. And to Cordelia he says our joy. Right? From this, it seems that he didn't say our third or youngest daughter, our joy. From this, it appears that probably Cordelia is the most loved one. King loves Cordelia the most. His love for his children doesn't seem to be equal. He seems to, the youngest daughter is perhaps the most pampered one. Right? Now Cordelia answers, nothing, my lord. Nothing. Nothing. King Lear, nothing will come of nothing. If you say nothing, you will get nothing. Speak again. He is warning. He is probably shocked. Shakespeare is not giving these things also. You have to find out the meaning. Cordelia, unhappy that I am. I cannot heave my heart into my mouth. I cannot bring my heart in my mouth. I love your majesty, according to my bond. We have a bond of father and daughter, and according to that, I love you. Nor more nor less. That's it. King Lear. How, Cordelia? Mend your speech a little. Correct yourself. Least it may mar your fortunes, otherwise everything will be taken out from you. It will be taken away from you. Right? Mend means repair your speech. Your speech is not right. Just take care of it. Cordelia. Good my lord, you have begot me. It is so nice that you gave birth to me, bred me, brought me up, loved me. I return those duties back as a right fit. I take care of you. I love you as a daughter should. Obey you. As a father, as a daughter, I obey you. Love you. And most honor you. I give really respect. Why have my sister's husbands, if they say they love you all, happily when I shall wed, why sisters husbands, they are all, before sisters husbands are standing here and sisters are saying that they love you all. What have the husbands got? Right? Then he says, happily when I shall wed, when I will marry, that lord whose hand must take my plight shall carry half my love with him. Whoever who I am going to will take away half of love with him. Half my care and duty, I have duties as a wife, I will have duties as a, to take care of his home. That duty is there, that care is there. Sure, I shall never marry like my sisters. I will not marry like my sisters to give away all my love to father and no love to my husbands. Love my father. This is Cordelia's reply. She's so honest. No flattering. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Now King Lear says, but goes thy heart with this? Is this only that you have to say? Aye, yes, good lord, my lord. King Lear says, so young and so untender. You are so young, youngest one should be most soft-hearted. But you are so hard-hearted, so untender, so hard. Cordelia says, so young, my lord, and true. King Lear, let it be so. Okay, fine. Thy truth. Then and be thy dog. Accordingly, I am going to give you. For by the sacred radiance of the sun, the mysteries of Hecate and the night, and by all the operations of the orbs from whom we do exist and cease to be. Here I disclaim all my paternal care, propinquity and property of blood. I sever my relationship totally, completely with you. Right? I give you nothing. I take away whatever I had given. Your honesty is your dowry now. Okay, take your honesty with you. And by the sacred rays of the sun, and he is taking names of gods, goddesses, the planets, whatever they who govern our lives, I disclaim my parental love, paternal love from you. And today onwards, I will treat you as you are just stranger. I don't recognize you. Who are you?
Ma'am?
Right? Yes.
Ma'am, what does propinquity means?
It is whatever you inherit or whatever. It is a second term for property itself.
Okay,
All
ma'am.
the gifts, whatever it is there. Okay, everything. My relationship with you, or he's talking about blood relations, no? So whatever propinquity and property of blood, whatever as a daughter-father bond is there, okay, so that kind of kinship, the term that they used was kinship for this. So that kinship, I take it from you. The relationship of the blood, I take it from you. Then there is a, is it clear? Then there is a reference to mythology. Scythian. Scythian actually, was a demon or a demon kind of myth, that it is. And the mythology said that he used to eat his own, he used to eat of these children, young infants. And from that he used to fill his stomach. So now he is saying that I let Barbara Scythian, you be inflicted by him. Okay, so there is no one who is going to comfort you, there is no one who will pity you, there is no one who is going to give you shelter. I take away everything from you. Gorge his appetite means to fulfill his stomach. Shall to my bosom, bosom means heart, be as well labored. I am going to keep Scythian with me. Be as well labored, pitied and relieved. I will take pity on him. But I do not know you. Now at this stage, Kent is interrupting. Good, my liege, just listen to me, my lord. Peace, Kent. Come not between the dragon and his wrath. He calls himself a dragon. He says, I am just in anger as much as a dragon is. What happens when dragon is in anger? Wrath means anger. When dragon is in anger, he eats up everything, he destroys everything. So my anger is going to burn up everything, destroy everything, reduce everything to ashes if you come in between now. This is just what I'm talking to this girl. He says, I loved her most and thought to set my rest on her kind nursery. I just wanted that in old age I would go and live with my youngest daughter. I chose her. Hence avoid my sight. So be my grave, my peace, as here I give her father's heart from her. Call France, who stirs, call Burgundy, Cornwall and Albany with my two daughters' doors. Digest this third. You take the third part also, and he divides Cordelia's part into two.
Ma'am, when he says, so be my, when he says, I give her father's heart from her, what does that mean?
I take back my heart. I had given my heart to this girl. I'm taking back all my love. Okay. I take my father's heart. Right?
Okay. And then so be my grave, my peace as here.
So be my grave, my peace. I'll rest to my grave, I'll rest to my peace. As when I get my heart back. I'm not going to this girl anymore.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, now he has left everything. Then let pride, which she calls plainness, marry her. Let her be married, because he is so sure that no one is going to marry her because he has taken her part from her. So he says that let pride marry her, which she calls plainness. She says that this is my honesty. I call it her honesty as her pride, right? And so let she be married to her pride. I do invest you jointly with my power, preeminence, and all the large effects that troop with majesty, ourselves by monthly course, with reservation of 100 nights, by you to be sustained, shall our abode make with you by due terms. Then he says that he is going to live alternately between these two daughters. Okay, and he is giving these two daughters everything that belongs to him, but only what he does, he takes with him a reservation of 100 knights. These 100 knights will be there to serve the king. the retired king, right? And the responsibility of keeping these 100 knights will fall upon the daughters, whoever with him he is living with. That
Ma'am,
means,
ma'am, the knight here means the horses or the slaves, like
knights
people?
knights
What do you
means
mean by
there were
knights?
people on horses, no? Knights means they were
Knights generally means horses.
no,
Like,
no, 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 no.
Wo-
Knights are the people known for
Ma'am,
their
warriors
chivalry.
kind of.
Yes, warriors for the known for
Nobles.
their chivalry, for protecting people, and they had horses. So whenever this means 100 horses, 100 men to feed, 100 horses to feed. So this all responsibility is of daughters. Whoever with him.
Ma'am, ma'am, what does this line mean? I do invest you jointly with my power, preeminence, and all the large effects that prove with majesty.
Yeah, that means I invest you. That means I am investing my entire kingdom jointly between you two, Goneril and Rhaegar. Half he has done now of his kingdom. So everything, preeminence and all the large effects that troop with the majesty. Majesty के साथ साथ जो भी चीजें रहती हैं, that troop, everything, army, everything is going to be divided into two. Right? Ourselves by monthly course, and I just give everything to these two daughters, and that means the kingdom is divided into two, and all the things that is associated with kingdom is divided into two, but king keeps with him 100 knights. And where will king live? He will live for a month with Goneril, then Rhaegar, then come with Goneril, and with him will move these 100 knights. And daughters will have to take care of. This is the kind of expenditure that the daughters have. Because daughters think it is
Yes,
expenditure, they don't take it as responsibility, as we will go on in the play. Okay, the name and all additions to the king, the sweat. Now these lines they go on. These lines they go on. Kent is again trying to help the matters to be, but he is not relenting. Okay, so these are the dialogues that you can go on. See how Kent has tried to interfere in the matter. But lastly, if you come to here, see, just you move down and down. Then to Cordelia, Kent is saying, farewell, well king. Now what has happened, you will be reading these lines and you will see that King Lear also banishes Kent, because Kent is saying that this is the wrong decision. He stands against the king and he says that this is the wrong decision and things should not have been taken in this way. Right? So King banishes Kent too. And then Kent, before saying goodbye to king and all, he says to Cordelia, the gods to their dear shelter take thee, may gods protect you, maid, that justly things you think you have thought in a very justifiable way, and has most rightly said. Whatever you said was correct. So let gods take care of you. And then to Rhaegar and Goneril, he says, and your large speeches, your deeds approve. This is now your deeds are going to tell you how much you love the king. That good effects may spring from words of love. I am so sure that you have spoken so good words for the king, full of love. So now good effects are going to come from it. Thus Kent, O princess, bids you all adieu. Now I say goodbye to all of you. He shall shape his old course in a country new. I'll go my old ways, my loyal ways in some new country. Okay. Now we could just do till here today. I think this is going to take another day. So tomorrow again we will be having class, and tomorrow I will complete this act and I'll try to complete the scene and the other scene also. The other scene may not take so much of time. This part was really very important, and again the scene itself is very important, right?
Okay, ma'am.
Yes,
Ma'am,
ma'am.
Yes.
in the beginning, you were saying that some people say that the king already knew how he will divide his kingdom.
Yes.
You know? But then, but then he, but then you also said that he loved his daughter, his youngest daughter, the most because he refers to him as my joy. So why did he do that to her? Why did he not give any part of his kingdom to her if he had already decided?
Didn't you see the ego of the king?
Yes, ma'am. So maybe impulsively he, because of his impulse, he thought
That is
that yeah, she's
that
not flattering me.
that is what literature is. You can't come to the
Yes.
decision with Act 1, Scene 1 itself.
Okay.
Right?
Okay, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, this is a play I know because this play is something which moves you, and the further you move, and further you will feel that it is a heart-rending. I told you in the beginning itself. Okay, so it was just the
Yes.
beginning of the play, and the Act 1, Scene 1 also we couldn't complete today. So tomorrow again we would be having classes. Though I was trying to have the class alternately, but let me see. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, most welcome.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, most welcome.